The story between Melody, Shari and Tiffany Whitlow is one that has been growing for a long time. This did not begin with a single argument, a shady comment, or a reunion moment that got out of hand. It has been building quietly, slowly, and steadily like a pressure cooker that finally reached its breaking point. For years, fans of the show have been watching and wondering if Melody and Tiffany were really as close as they appeared, or if the friendship was more for show and less for real life. What has happened recently has made everything clear. This is not just some storyline created for cameras. This is personal. This is raw. This is a feud that jumped from the TV screen and landed in the real world, carried by social media, by alliances within the cast, and by strategic moves that neither woman has tried to hide anymore. What makes this situation so powerful is the fact that Melody actually gave Tiffany a real chance in the beginning. When Tiffany first arrived on the scene, she came in bold, blunt, and unapologetic. Her style was not exactly welcomed by everyone. In fact, most of the cast was hesitant to embrace her. People were cautious, side-eyeing her, unsure about how she would fit in. But Melody stood up for her. Melody defended Tiffany, saying that just because someone speaks truth bluntly does not mean they are wrong. That support mattered, because when Melody backs you, it means you have her respect and her protection. It gives you a platform and it gives you credibility within the cast. At that time, Tiffany gained exactly that because of Melody's support, but in relationships, loyalty is expected in return. That is where things began to crack. Tiffany's personality has always been about being unfiltered, about saying what she feels, and not holding back. Some fans loved that side of her because it made her stand out. Others felt that she was too quick to stir the pot just to get attention. The real problem came when Tiffany's bluntness was directed at Melody. At first, it was small moments. A comment here, a question there. But it was clear these moments were not innocent. They had weight. They had meaning. And they hit a little too close to home. Melody did not explode right away. That is not her way. But anyone watching closely could see the shift. The look in her eyes when someone you gave your support to suddenly makes you look bad. The silence where there used to be defense. The subtle clapbacks where there used to be friendship. It was slow, but it was noticeable. And then came the group scenes, the reunions, the sit-down dinners where Tiffany's comments became sharper. One moment, in particular, stands out. Tiffany asked a question that on paper seemed innocent. But the delivery, the timing, and the intention behind it made it clear it was not just curiosity. It was a direct hit. The room fell silent. Melody froze. And in that moment, everyone could see the betrayal. Social media immediately picked it up. Team Melody and Team Tiffany began trending. Fans went back and watched clips, dissected facial expressions, and built theories about what was happening behind the scenes. It stopped being lighthearted drama and became a real divide. Melody's supporters accused Tiffany of using her name for clout, trying to ride her wave for attention. Tiffany's defenders argued she was just being real, the only one brave enough to say what others were too scared to say. No matter what side people were on, it was obvious this friendship was breaking apart for good. The problem is that Tiffany did not pull back. She did not soften her stance. She doubled down. In interviews, she made it clear she was not going to sugarcoat anything for anyone. Melody, on the other hand, decided to distance herself. She did not lash out publicly, she did not explode in anger. She chose silence, distance, and the kind of calm that speaks louder than shouting ever could. But behind the scenes, this distance did not end things. It made the situation even bigger. Producers started realizing how much this feud was fueling the show. Suddenly, more scenes, more group events, and more interactions were designed to put Melody and Tiffany in the same room. The tension became part of the storyline. Every time the two women were near each other, the air shifted. You could feel it even through the screen. It became clear this was no longer about just Melody and Tiffany. Other cast members started to move differently too. Kimmy tried to play the role of the peacekeeper, but even she avoided certain questions. Letitia, who already had her own history with Melody, seemed to enjoy watching things play out. She did not say much, But her body language made it clear she was not unhappy to see Melody challenged. Marceau, meanwhile, praised Tiffany's bluntness, calling her real, and fans noticed how much she seemed to enjoy the fact that someone was finally going head-to-head with Melody. This was not just about a broken friendship anymore. It was about shifting alliances and strategy within the cast. Tiffany began to play the game like a chessboard. She formed friendships with people who were not on Melody's side, creating her own alliances. Melody, in contrast, raised her walls higher. She limited her interactions, chose her words carefully, and made it clear she was not going to give Tiffany another chance to embarrass her. The silence itself became her weapon. She knew that not reacting was just as powerful as clapping back. But Tiffany pushed forward even harder. At events, she asked questions she knew would stir things up. She brought up Melody's past, questioned her motives, and smiled the whole time as if it were just light conversation. Some fans saw this as entertainment. Others saw it as dangerous, not only for her relationship with Melody but also for her own reputation. Then came the confessionals and interviews. Tiffany started to make comments that hit deeper. She suggested Melody's brand was built on drama, that she knew how to play victim, and that people only gave her power because she had been on the show longer. These were not small jabs anymore. These were direct shots at Melody's character and image. By the time the reunion came, the gloves were off. Melody confronted Tiffany directly, laying out how she felt disrespected and blindsided. Tiffany did not apologize. She did not back down. She smiled and told Melody, "If you can't handle honesty, maybe I'm not your kind of friend." That moment was like a spark that lit everything on fire. Fans were shocked that confrontation changed everything. Their relationship was not just broken, it was officially public property. Bloggers, fans, and podcast hosts all weighed in, debating whether Tiffany was trying to take Melody's spot, whether she was building her story off Melody's pain, and whether production was encouraging the feud to keep ratings high. And honestly, it is hard to deny production's role. The group events, the perfectly timed scenes, and the editing choices all seemed designed to highlight the tension. It worked. Ratings went up, social media went wild, and suddenly Melody versus Tiffany was the main attraction. Off-screen, the feud only grew. Instagram became the battlefield. Melody posted quotes about loyalty, snakes in the grass, and moving on from fake friends. Tiffany posted bold captions about standing strong, refusing to shrink, and telling the truth no matter what. Fans knew exactly who each woman was talking about. This was no longer just a storyline, it was a performance for the public, and the public was fully invested. Entire fan pages dedicated themselves to tracking the drama. Clips from past seasons were rewatched, compared, and shared. Conspiracy theories popped up about whether production was pushing Tiffany to target Melody. Comment sections became war zones between the two fan bases. Even silence from other cast members was analyzed, with people guessing which side everyone was really on. The husbands also got involved. Lewis defended Tiffany in interviews, saying she was misunderstood and never meant to hurt anyone. He painted her as someone who simply refused to censor herself. But many people did not agree. They argued that being real is not the same as being reckless. Fans pointed out that defending your wife is expected, but doing so while ignoring the real harm being caused only added fuel to the fire. Melody's supporters highlighted how she had remained calm and graceful through it all, never letting herself be dragged too low. But even they admitted the feud had taken a toll on her. You could hear it in her voice during lives, see it in her face during interviews. This was not just drama for her. It was exhaustion. Things reached a new level when producers allegedly set up a one-on-one sit-down between Melody and Tiffany. This was supposed to be the moment of truth, where they either resolved their issues or at least spoke openly. But according to insiders, it did not go as planned. There was no big blow-up. No heated shouting. Just silence, eye contact, and a clear realization that there was nothing left to say. The footage was never even aired. The rumor is that it was too raw, too awkward, and not useful for TV. That fact alone speaks volumes. From that moment forward, the divide was permanent. Group scenes were carefully planned to keep them separate. When they did share space, the energy was unbearable. Other cast members started openly choosing sides, whether they admitted it or not. Off-camera, friendships shifted, proving this was more than a storyline. It was a real fracture that changed the foundation of the cast itself. But the deeper truth is that this feud was never just about Melody and Tiffany. It became a bigger conversation about power, presence, and identity in the world of reality television. Melody had long been the centerpiece. She built her place through authenticity, resilience, and by carrying herself with grace even in tough times. Tiffany came in different. She was blunt, strategic, and unafraid to challenge the status quo. She was not content to play second to anyone. When these two forces collided, the result was more than arguments. It was a battle over influence and control of the narrative. Whether or not Melody and Tiffany ever repair their relationship, one thing is certain. Their feud reshaped love and marriage Huntsville. It showed how reality TV can blur the lines between entertainment and real life. But when the cameras stop rolling, the damage, the emotions, and the consequences remain very real.